It's the time of the year that every basketball fan loves. The wild and crazy time that is March Madness. And it definitely will be March Madness, because this is the third tournament that's going to be taking place in New York City. Heck, they moved the Big Ten tournament to Madison Square Garden, but something just doesn't seem right about that. Why have the Big Ten tournament in Madison Square Garden when it's primarily a conference that's around the Midwest? Oh, well, you know what it is. Money. Money, money, money. Big Ten, ACC, and Big East. Of course, if we were still in the Big East, I think it'd still be a natural match, because I think ACC should be around North Carolina. But I digress. It is that time. The ACC tournament is upon us, and this is the last gasp for Syracuse to make an impression with the committee there so they can get into the big dance. And they have to make a big impression. They might have to do a thing when they made that great run 13 years ago to get into the NCAA Tournament. Because you know what? The bit's in their teeth. They finished 8-10 with that impressive win against Clemson on Saturday, following up that disastrous loss to Boston College. And they're going to have to make a big impression, because it's going to be 5 games in 5 nights if they make it to win the ACC Conference Championship and the automatic bid, which may be a tall order indeed. Not as tall as a nice brew, but I mean a tall order. First up, it's Wake Forest tonight in the Barclays Center. And then North Carolina State if they get past Wake Forest. And then they got to play the big boys of North Carolina, who have one of the double byes. Well, you know what? It's time for Syracuse to show that they belong in the big dance. And they are going to have to do some pretty good playing. Lack of depth and lack of offense is one of the big reasons Syracuse is in the position they are now. Plus also the whole thing with the NCAA sanctions over them the last few years. Well, next year we got those great recruits and that transfer coming in. Maybe Boeheim can reclaim some of the magic. But it's time for Syracuse to show that they belong in the big dance. Otherwise, I might just be waiting until Sunday night to watch the NIT selection show, if you know what I mean. It's time for Syracuse to put it together. It's time to make sure that maybe, just maybe, we can get in the big dance. And now I'm going to go from Syracuse to talking local. Yep. We came up short with both the Minders boys and the Minders girls. But whatever, they were great seasons. As I said last week, it was a tall order for the Minders girls to beat Bath on their home court. But I digress. When you lose big cogs like Heidi Miller there, and also Kayla Snyder being hobbled by her ankle injury, yet having the fortitude to play, that showed me something. But still, good season by the girls. And for the boys, it was fun while it lasted. But that Grease Odyssey team was a very tough customer. I figured if there's an upset brewing, it probably might be by Grease Odyssey. And yes, it happened. But whatever. Kellen, Quentin, Hunter, Devin, and all of the guys, you did a great job. Good luck to you in your future endeavors, especially Kellen going to Marywood in Scranton, Pennsylvania. By the way, say hi to G-Mac's family for me. Quentin going to Wells College. Hunter going to St. John Fisher. And Devin, I'm still unsure of where you're going to school, but you know, in ways, the way you shot, you look just like your dad, who was a main cog of that great 1992 Minders team that won the Federation title and is the girls' coach for Minders. Great season, guys. And you know what? It's going to be an uncertain season next year for both the girls and the boys. But you know, they say we got always breed future players. We always reload and not regroup. Well, let's see what happens. And I'm going to go from talking about minors to the NFL Combine. Seems as though the GM for Buffalo definitely is in the mix for a quarterback. Yeah, because you know what? Tyrod Taylor, he's been solid, but you know what? He can't handle the pressure. I mean, you can't win with him when he's got the bit in his teeth. Can't do it. There's always going to be questions whether they're going to keep Tyrod Taylor, whether they're going to cut him, or whether they're going to keep him so he can groom the next guy. This is supposedly a bumper crop of quarterbacks coming out of college this year, but we'll see what happens. The draft is always a crapshoot. You never know when you're going to get a gem, or you never know when you're going to get a bust. Some people are saying Baker Mayfield, even with him winning the Heisman Trophy, could potentially be a bust. And of course, they may be looking at the kid from Oklahoma State, Mason Rudolph. Could he be a bust or could he be good? Like I said, it's always a crapshoot. You could find a gem, or maybe you could wait till the later rounds. We got all those draft picks. We could package a deal. But whatever. It's always interesting, and why do they call it the Combine? When I think of a combine, I think of a machine that harvests crops, especially wheat. But I don't know if they're harvesting any crops. Of course, what they're doing is maybe harvesting some players who could be the future of the NFL, the future superstars. We'll see what happens. Let's see if GM Bean and Coach McDermott can make the good choice for Buffalo. And last but not least, I want to talk about the Oscars. It was another pretty good ceremony, albeit with the political implications. And they had some pretty good winners. Sam Rockwell, Best Supporting Actor. Great character actor for a lot of years. Allison Janney, adding an Oscar to all those Emmys she won for The West Wing. And also saying, I did it all by myself. And also showing that even dressed up, she could do household chores. For Best Actor, one of the greatest actors of this generation, one I've always admired, Gary Oldman, for his stunning portrayal of Winston Churchill there. You know, I've yet to see that movie all the way through, but anybody who could do Winston Churchill, who to me was probably one of the greatest leaders I've ever, read about. I mean, when I've done my history, he's always one I hold in high regard. To play him took something. Gary Oldman, you deserve your Oscar. But I do want to say about Frances McDormand, great speech there, calling all the women to rise up as part of that Me Too movement, and also the other movement. But you know what? Watch your Oscar. I know you set it down to make that announcement, but you know what? You let that schmuck take it, walk around like he had won it himself. But thank God there was an alert person there at the governor's ball who stopped him. And it turns out he's a con with a rap sheet a mile long. If it's a mile long, how come it's not halfway to Waterloo? Oh well, that's a waste of paper. But you know what? It was another great ceremony, and kudos to both Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway for this time not having a faux pas happen like what happened. Price Waterhouse and them finally got you the right envelope. Well, it was a great ceremony. And that's all I have time for this week. And hopefully next week I'll talk about Syracuse maybe making the NCAA Tournament. We'll see what happens. I'm Ken Haas, and that's my story this week.